Week 11 recap with just Grayson and Matt today. We have no Noah or Jack. They couldn't make it. We're going to be going over
They got jobs or something.
something like that. Real jobs. We're going to be going over the games that we predicted from last week. Talk a little bit about the Heisman race and some college football playoff thoughts. So, Matt, let's get right into it. Starting with Missouri A&M. Just an absolute blowout. By the way, I mean that game was never close. Matt Zollers, the freshman QB, highly touted, coming into this game with A&M, 7 of 22, 77 yards. I mean, a complete letdown. I don't know if he had a completion in the first quarter from what I watched. Just initial thoughts. I think. Go ahead.
Yeah, like you said, 7 for 22, 0 touchdowns. Didn't throw an interception, but I don't know. I feel like that Texas A&M win for me is kind of a win with an asterisk. Not super impressed with Zollers, but he's young. He may be their quarterback of the future. If I'm Drink, I'm probably searching around trying to find somebody. That's a big game for your first start as a true freshman, so can't really hold that against him. But like you said, 7 for 22, 77 yards. That Missouri team is not the same without Perbula. That looked pretty evident to me.
I mean, speaking of Drink, the guy's probably not even there next year. He's probably taking one of these SEC jobs, the bigger SEC jobs.
That could have played into it. Drink probably has a foot out the door. Team may feel it. I feel like, and I had this written in my notes. Not really a lot to say about Missouri this week. Nothing really flashed. Obviously, Zion Young was still able to get to Marcel Reed a lot, but not enough to really affect the outcome of the game. I feel like Missouri's season was kind of a wash after the Alabama game. A lot of their fans are saying that's the biggest game for Missouri of this century, and they ultimately dropped it. And it's kind of a downhill trajectory after that.
Yeah, I mean, we can say all the bad things about Missouri. What I took from this game is that I just think A&M's the real deal. I mean, I was kind of doubting them with LSU win because Brian Kelly was still there. I don't feel like the team was playing for him, but I mean, what I've seen, yes, their SEC schedule has been extremely easier compared to a Bama, Georgia, Ole Miss schedule, but they're still dominating.
I wouldn't have said that at the start of the year. I think the start of the year, you're like, man, that's going to be a tough schedule, but I think kind of what it's turned into. Auburn obviously didn't meet expectations. Mississippi State, Florida, Arkansas, LSU, and Missouri.
Yeah, I mean, Florida and LSU are two top 10 teams at the start of the year.
Yeah, start of the year, that's a tough schedule. I know they're 9-0, and obviously a lot of respect to what Coach Elko is doing up there. It feels like a trap team to bet on. Marcel Reed played lights out though, 20 for 29, 221 yards. But I don't know, they scare me. I would love to see what happens if they're ultimately pretty much a lock for the SEC championship at this point, unless something crazy happens. Let's see the remainder of their schedule. Yeah, they got South Carolina, Samford, and Texas. So Texas is on an upward trajectory, so I could see that being a good final game.
If Texas wins out, it's going to be the same case as last year. It's going to be the Texas A&M game to go to the championship. So
yeah, we'll have to talk about that. I was planning on talking about that later. Obviously, Texas has the chance to really shake things up, and we'll talk about that in the preview on week 11 week 11 preview, or week 12. Sorry, we'll talk about that more in the week 12 preview. But Texas has a chance to really shake things up, and I don't think anybody's overlooking them at this point.
Yeah. That's about it for that game. Let's move on to Vandy Auburn, where I really don't have any words for this game. Probably the last thing you expected coming out of Nashville this weekend. But
yeah, I kind of wish Noah was here to talk about this one. He probably, I got to watch the probably third, fourth quarter of it. Auburn shocked me in two ways. Really, I didn't think they would hang in this game at all. The other way is I didn't think they were going to give up 30-plus points. DJ Durkin talking to Noah, his whole thing is keeping the other team out of the end zone. And we hadn't seen that all year out of Auburn. I don't think they've given up over 24 points. We kind of touched on that. Diego Pavia blew that out of the water. For my money, that was a Diego Pavia Heisman performance. He hadn't really done that a lot this year, but I think he had like 130 on the ground and like 330 in the air with like 4 touchdowns. It's going to be hard to beat a team when their quarterback does that.
Yeah, I mean, talking about Vandy, they keep their playoff hopes alive, but I mean, I don't know if I see them getting in. If they win out, they probably are, but
I don't think they'll get in, even if they do beat Tennessee. I think they're probably one of the first teams out, but they've lost the big ones this year. Ultimately, who knows what can happen though?
Does a 9-3 Texas team get in over a 10-2 Vandy with a head-to-head win?
I think so. I mean, the committee already has them ranked over Vandy. And if Texas wins out, it's going to be hard for them to justify moving Texas down. But Texas got a hard stretch. I mean, I think Texas honestly can probably drop one to Georgia and still make it. If they beat either Texas A&M or Georgia, I think Texas is in.
I agree. The one time, I don't know what happened to Auburn's offense. The scheme looked completely different. Ashton Daniels looked like he'd been there, for years in that offense. All of a sudden, just the play calling seemed like they wanted to win. And then the one time they can put points on the board, their defense gives up 45. So, that's
it's a heartbreaker.
One thing I can tell you is Cam Coleman is one of the best receivers in college football. That's about the only positive I can give you for Auburn. But who knows if he's
elite. They have a lot of good receivers. Cam Coleman obviously had those 2 insane grabs, and it's on SportsCenter everywhere.
I don't know if you keep those receivers. I don't know if Perry Thompson and Cam
Coleman's gonna have some money coming his way for sure.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's funny. I had almost forgot that Derek Nix was even at Auburn, but I was thinking back because I was thinking about this game when Auburn got Derek Nix from Ole Miss. That was a big deal, and it kind of has gone under the rug because obviously Hugh Freeze had been calling the plays. I'm thinking he's probably sitting in the Bahamas right now, wishing that he probably gave his play calling ability to Derek Nix. That was one of the things the last couple of weeks of his stint there. He's getting questions, which every coach that's failing in the SEC, they obviously, I got hired to do this job, but at some point you gotta push your ego to the side and do what's best to win. And I think the teams that have a coordinator are the ones that are doing well right now.
Yeah, the teams that have a coordinator calling plays are teams that are succeeding. You saw that with Ryan Day last year. He gave up his play calling, and they won the national title. Same thing with Billy Napier. He was calling the plays, and they just, not saying they're doing any better now. They got blown out.
He died on that hill, and Hugh Freeze did too. So it's very weird to me. I guess just the egos those guys have being head coaches of these ginormous SEC schools, and they've won at every level. So it's probably just like this formula works.
Yeah.
But but all teams have done better. Florida really could have beat Georgia, and Auburn really should have won that Vandy game. And Derek Nix, 500 and something yards. I don't think there's been a team put up that much offense since 2019. And if I'm an Auburn fan, I'm just killing myself right now thinking what could have been. Because that offense obviously had the ability to move the ball and score a ton of points behind that defense. If that defense even played up to half of their standard, I think Auburn could be sitting at 8-9-2, or 8-2, 9-1 right now. But
if you have Derek Nix on play since the beginning, that Oklahoma game's probably a different result. That Texas A&M game's probably a different result. Their whole season's probably a different result. Probably the Georgia game too.
And Derek Nix, I think he may obviously like Ashton Daniels more.
Yeah,
because I think he could have easily went back to Arnold. And also, to Arnold's credit, I would like to see what Arnold looks like against against Vandy this weekend. Would he look better?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a shame. Auburn's been building up to this season for years now, and it's just you end up
Yeah,
firing your coach. You're going to be playing the Bama game for a shot at the bowl game. It's just not what anyone expected.
outside looking in, you saw them loading up in the transfer portal this year. I think they had the number one transfer portal class in the country with Eric Singleton and a couple of guys on the offensive line that had been struggling. I think like, man, they got all the pieces. They brought in Jackson Arnold, which at the time I think everybody was pretty high on because I think he had just beaten Alabama and had some promising games at the end of Oklahoma season. He wasn't the guy. And I think that really ultimately, if you want to simplify it, which I know the result this weekend kind of changes that up, but I think it really came down to Jackson Arnold at quarterback for Auburn, which sucks to say.
Yeah. Moving on, Iowa, Oregon. The one thing that I want to say about this game and the Penn State Indiana game is that I saw two defenses play amazing fourth quarters until the final drive, and not less Penn State. They didn't truly play prevent, but I saw Iowa go into prevent and just let Oregon drive the field in a rainy, in a snowy environment where they didn't need to do that. Oregon was not looking to throw deep balls, and they just let them drive the field instead of staying the same defense they had the whole game and kick a chip shot field goal. Same with Penn State. Played a few downs of prevent. Not saying Mendoza didn't throw some beautiful balls, especially there was one down the sideline that just right past the corner into the receiver's hands. It was beautiful, but I just don't understand. Maybe you can enlighten me. I don't understand going into prevent like that on the final game.
I have one line about this game, which I obviously have a lot more stuff to talk about, but I think it really comes down to is that Oregon came into Kinnick and out Iowa at home. And I mean, 7.3 yards a carry, 36 carries for 261 yards.
Yeah, they ran all over.
It's going to be hard to. And Iowa, I mean, I think one of my points before the game was that Gronowski's going to have to throw over 200 yards. He threw 0 touchdowns and 138 yards and only 100 yards on the ground. I'll be honest. I expected a lot more out of Iowa in November. They were my pick. I really think they could have won that game. I think it ultimately came down to that safety in the first quarter, but
it really did.
By Iowa. I really think that was their game to win, but I think Oregon's good. I mean, that amount of rushing yards, like you said, they came in trying. I think they had a game plan coming in. They weren't going to throw the ball around. Dante Moore had one of what I thought was more of his lackluster performances for 13 for 21 with 112 yards with 1 INT and 0 touchdowns.
Yeah. I mean, weather probably plays a factor in that, but am I crazy, or do they just completely not buckle down and just give Oregon the field to drive? Is that, I don't know if you watched the end of the game.
That's like
I don't understand that.
That's one of my all-time pet peeves, and I'll talk about this. Me and you had this exact same conversation. Like, it's come up for me a lot. Alabama, when there's a minute left in the drive, and you go 2-minute situation, Alabama's going to drive the field, score a touchdown in 3 plays. They don't do that all game. They won't call those same passing plays, that same offense all game long. But when Alabama needs to score, they will. And I think it's the same situation. Why did you change up what you're doing when you've held them to 7 or 9 points to the second half? Why are you switching up and just getting to some prevent defense when they hadn't really tossed the ball around the whole game? And that's something that they're going to have to answer for. And I was probably out of playoff contention. Probably will drop out of the 25 on the committee, but I tweeted about it. I think this is their opportunity to get in the playoff, and it started in week 11 with Oregon, and they dropped it. Oregon, no, you go ahead. But yeah, I expected more out of them in November. They let me down. I'd put my bet on them this week. Thought it was a sleeper pick, but I guess not.
I mean, Iowa had the game won. They just needed one stop, which they had been getting the whole fourth quarter, and then they just couldn't do it. It was the same with Penn State. I mean, Mendoza had a Heisman moment, but I don't understand the prevent. It's just we're not coaches.
I hated that
They know
defensive
something.
play call by Penn State there at the goal line for the
3 plays in a row. What are we doing?
as great as the catch was. You run all out blitz with your corners 10 yards off the ball.
Yeah.
At the goal line, I thought that was stupid. I think you probably drop back in zone because they're throwing an end zone. They're throwing for the end zone there, but that made me mad. I was probably
the 2 plays before. They ran it twice before that third down play, and it worked. Why are you running it again? Drop back.
And you got what you wanted out of it. I don't know. That surprised me. I saw them come out in it, and I was like, oh, they're going to drop back. Like they're doing like a fake blitz.
They
stayed in it. Which phenomenal play by that guy. I mean, you probably play that play probably can go on 10 times, and they're probably going to catch that one time.
Yeah.
But it was that play, and Indiana's got the X factor right now. I'll be honest, I was hate watching that game. We've been talking a lot about Indiana. I saw it was close in the fourth quarter. I think you texted me, and I went and watched it, and all I saw was, which probably hold off on this for my later portion, but Mendoza looked legit on that last drive. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. I mean, last thing, Oregon probably a lock for the playoff at this point. I mean, they've got Wisconsin left, who just lost to Wisconsin, which might be the worst loss this year for a Power 4 team. I'm not going to lie. That was Wisconsin is awful. They have Wisconsin left. Then they have USC, which might be a tough game. But I'd probably
Wisconsin just got to win this weekend.
Yeah, I know. Who saw that coming? I don't think Wisconsin saw that coming. So
well, that just shows what happens when you give your coach a nod of approval that said they're going to bring him back. Auburn wanted to do that with Hugh Freeze, and I think it hurt his confidence a little too much.
Yeah. I mean,
can you guys please tell me it's going to be okay?
Yeah. Moving on, Bama LSU. You know, Bama games are usually pretty entertaining. You got Ryan Williams and Jeremy Bernard getting dimes from Ty Simpson. That might have been one of the least enjoyable games I've ever watched. It was just –
it felt like 6 hours long.
6-hour game. Super sloppy, at least, I mean, from both offenses. Just Ty Simpson. You know, it's not like Simpson's – exaggeratingly missing these guys by I saw someone say this by 20 yards, but he's just missing these guys by inches. And if he could just figure that out, I mean, that game's
2 or 3 of those in any kind of combination. Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. Any combination of those, Alabama blows the doors off of them. We could talk about the Alabama offense and kind of what it lacked. I thought Kane Womack had the Alabama defense flying around, and they're getting better and better each week, and I think they're going to be a real problem once the playoff comes around. I think they're a top 3 defense in the country for my money, and they're getting better every week.
I mean, they're playing incredible. I mean, yes, LSU offense has not been great, but they're holding the 9 points and 0 touchdowns.
I think it was 3 red zone trips.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty impressive.
And come away with no scores there. I think what they did with Dijon Lee, and they moved around their defensive backs a lot, and pretty much Dijon Lee's the starter now, and he's been awesome, probably the best freshman in the nation. And having that length at defensive back, I think really changes up the coverages you're allowed to run.
Yeah,
and Bray Hubbard,
their tight end Trey Green was not a factor at all. And that's
locked him out of the game. That was supposed to be the guy that was going to win him the game. I don't think he caught a ball.
Yeah.
And Bray Hubbard, dude, I think he's a top 2 safety in the country. I'm not opposed to saying he's one. Just he's so physical in the box. I don't know if he's a safety at the next level, but I think he's probably like a bandit or an outside linebacker, middle linebacker if he puts on some weight. And he's just so physical and finds the ball so naturally, and he's just not afraid to hit.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I'd say he's the best safety in the country. I think Caleb Downs has had that spot for a while, but he's up there.
I don't hate having what Ray Hubbard brings to the defense, though, man. Just like culture-wise, dude.
He might be the best player in the league, and not in the league, in the country at forcing turnovers. I mean, he's creating one every game.
It's just he's so fast and physical. I mean, you just don't see that out of a safety, like just a big safety that just headhunts. Like you said, that's another. Bama had forced 4 turnovers, which I don't care who you're playing. That's impressive. They didn't get one of them. They forced 3. They got 3, but they had a ball on the ground that they didn't get. They're going to be hard to beat if they're punching the ball out like that. And plus, you have their defensive back end is loaded, and then they tackle well too. I wouldn't have said that at the early part of the year.
Yeah, I mean,
that Bama defense is heating up.
For Bama, I think it just comes down, can Simpson continue to play solid enough to win games without a run game? And, it's got to bite him at some point. But, I mean, maybe not. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe Simpson's that good that they don't need a run game.
That's my one worry. You saying that the offense is dependent on Ty Simpson. What happens if he goes down, man? I think that Alabama – I just think the formula is so dependent on Ty Simpson right now, getting them – because you're watching the games, you see Alabama's in a 2nd and 8 or 3rd and long. You think they're going to get it. I feel better about them getting a 3rd and 8 than I do a 3rd and 1 when I think they're going to run the ball.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, Ty Simpson's about to throw it. He's going to throw a dime, but you're running the ball. So we can talk about that. I don't know what the deal is with the run game. I think it's the worst run game in the SEC numbers-wise, but it just looks awful. I've never seen anything like it out of an Alabama team.
I know I told you this earlier, but I mean, it feels like Bama's somehow tipping them off. There's a lot of talk last year about Miro. I can't say his name. Milroe's stance tipping people off that he was running the ball, and that's why our run game was not efficient last year. I mean, maybe there's something this year.
There's little tells. Like I know on the offensive line, that's a big thing that we were coached to do. You always want to have the same stance, and whether you're showing too much body lean or, I mean, we've had tells like our coach would notice like on pass plays we had guys that would put like 3 fingers in the ground, and on a run play they would have 4, but you can't see any difference in their leverage. But just little stuff like that, and an SEC defensive coordinator is going to find it. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But
I mean, let me tell you, Brent Venables is definitely going to have that key. I mean, that's his thing, is still in play calls, not still in play calls, just knowing the tells.
Reading play calls.
Yeah, I mean
that's football. I mean that was a headline when that came out, but that's just football. I mean, it's really on the offense to hide your play calls. That's why you have 10 guys out there with a green, blue, and a yellow shirt and photo boards. You don't know who's calling the plays. And that's really on the offense. I think I actually watched DeBoer this morning. He said that's really on them, and he said Venables does he says regardless of the job Venables does, the offensive side of the ball has every opportunity to, because if you're not switching stuff up, then you're a bad offensive coordinator.
I mean, for Bama and A&M, it's looking like they're locked up the SEC championship unless something fatal happens. Bama can probably drop one of these games to Oklahoma or Auburn, and they're still in there.
I would like for Bama to beat Oklahoma this weekend, just because I think. But Oklahoma's fighting for their life, which we're not in their preview yet, but I think it's a scary one in Tuscaloosa this weekend.
Last game, Texas Tech BYU. I said this in our preview for this game. I just think Texas Tech completely out-talents BYU, and I feel like that showed on the field today or on Saturday. I don't know what BYU's chances are going forward. They've got to play at Cincinnati. That might knock them out completely. I mean, I think Tech's a real threat. I mean, if they win out, they probably get the 5 seed, which would be huge for that program. I mean, Jacob Rodriguez, David Bailey should both be in the Heisman talk. Those are some of the best players in the nation. I mean, their front 7 is ridiculous.
Yeah. Jacob Rodriguez stat line: 14 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, a fumble recovery, and an interception.
Yeah,
he's all over the field. I watched that game. Every single play, he's at the ball like that. And he's physical and he's a very sound player. Not necessarily that he's an athletic freak, but he's everywhere. And David Bailey, 4 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, and a pass deflection, sitting at 11.5 sacks on the year. I feel like the Heisman vote has completely turned into like a media award. Who's the most popular guy? If you're talking about best football players, these 2 guys should be on that list.
Yeah. I mean, sorry, I'm trying to think who's Tech's going to play in the first round.
The sample bracket, what it would be right now.
Yeah.
Shield would. I'll make my case on this in just a second, but Texas Tech last year was defensively was averaging giving up 33.6 points per game. Shield Wood comes in, they're giving up 12.6, and that's 3rd in the FBS, and they're ranked number and Texas Tech's ranked number 7 in the nation. So that defensive turnaround is really the story of this Texas Tech team for me. Because Texas Tech has always been able to sling it around the football field. At least recent years, they always have a very air raid offense, but it's always been, well, you score 40, but you give up 45. And now you have a defense that's going to hold teams to 12 points a game. You're going to be hard to beat. And
I think – go ahead. Sorry. I think with their loss to Arizona State, the quarterback was out. They could easily be an undefeated team and probably ranked number 3 or 4 right now, hoping for that bye. But I just don't see them losing going forward. Just too much talent for – I don't know how they're going to face against SEC or Big Ten teams in the first round. I guess we'll see. But I don't know.
They've got the Big 12 on lock right now. And they look – I mean, honestly, but like you said, you don't know until the playoffs. I feel like this is a weird year in that. But I feel like it's just hard for me to see this Texas Tech team and not just think they can knock off an SEC team in the playoff. They just look so good, which I won't say that until we get there, but they have the dudes. There's no doubt about it. It's a personnel game, and they've done a great job with NIL getting in guys that can compete at an elite level.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really much to say about the game. I mean, they're on a different level than BYU. That's about.
Yeah, it was out talented. They made Bear Bachmeier look like a true freshman quarterback, which he hadn't looked like all year. They couldn't do anything. That was a hard watch. I think you get to the first half of the game, you're like, oh, Texas Tech is like that. That was my feeling. I was excited. I got up early to watch that game, watch all the stuff, getting ready for it, and it ultimately just was nothing, which I was upset about.
Even front game of the week, you got to get up early for it.
Yeah, it was even front game of the week. I told you guys to watch it. That's on me. But trust our next one. We got a good one coming this week, but this wasn't it. I mean, it was a 7-8 matchup. I guess we fell for the smoke.
Any hints to what the game of the week is?
I think it'll have playoff implications. That's all I'll say.
Okay, well, I've seen a lot of people say Pitt Notre Dame have huge.
It's not Pitt Notre Dame. That's a travesty. College Game Day is really reaching on that one. Which I understand. They're going to the coolest place, the coolest environment of the week. We're going to the best football game of the week. I'm not into theatrics. We're going to go to the best football game this week.
Yeah. I mean, if they're trying to spread it out, I don't know why they didn't go to the Battle of the Ravine, but hey.
They just don't want to go to the SEC every week.
I guess.
That's all it is.
Got a question for you. Who is your Heisman favorite currently?
I hate to say this. I really do. I got to go Julian Sand. As much as I'm high on – I don't think he's a better quarterback than Ty Simpson, but he's just been more productive, and he's got the stats.
Do you think the media factors in who he's playing?
Until Ohio State proves otherwise, it's just going to be Sand, and they've got an opportunity to lose some games coming up, but they look inhuman right now. They're great on every phase of the ball. Their offense is really starting to pick up. Jeremiah Smith is starting to show up in big ways. And if I'm a quarterback throwing to Jeremiah Smith, that doesn't hurt your odds for the Heisman. Yeah, it's Julian saying. Ty Simpson, I think, is one big game away from being my top guy. Very consistent. 21 touchdowns, 1 turnover. He's right there, but it's hard for me to not give it to Sand. Sand looked awesome this weekend. He had a bunch of big plays downfield, which it's a media award. I said that earlier. He's at Ohio State, and he's throwing bombs to Jeremiah Smith. It's appealing to me. But I think Ty Simpson is an inch away. I think my order is probably Sand, Simpson, and Mendoza. Mendoza's great. I think they have the potential to drop a game. I'll just say it. They have great stats. I don't think they're an elite team. I think they're great. I don't think they're in Ohio State.
Unless Simpson has some crazy Heisman moments coming up here, I think it's going to be whoever wins the Big Ten championship, which is going to be Sand versus Mendoza. Right now, I'd probably agree with you. I'd give it to Sand. Just 80% completion rate is insane. You just don't see that.
Yeah, he's 80% completion, doesn't really turn the ball over. And this is what's scary about him. He's young, man. He could be around another 2-3 years if he wants to. So
yeah, that's true.
So Ohio State's probably feeling pretty good about what they got going on over there.
Yeah. There's not much else to say about that. It's a 3-man race. Kind of looks like it's narrowing down to Mendoza and saying Simpson's not that he hasn't been playing great.
Sand played the long game because he hadn't really, to me, gotten much better throughout the year. But he's just remained consistently who he is, and he doesn't have if Ty Simpson played consistent to how he was that kind of 4-game stretch, he's probably running away with it at this point. He's really just missed some big plays that would have boosted his numbers and big. He makes some beautiful throws like that one he had over the top to Latazier Brooks, but he also just misses, like we said, just by like a fingertip ball. And I ultimately think that's kind of got him out of the Heisman race. I think he hits those passes, he's clear one, but he hasn't. But
for Simpson, you got to have a 5-touchdown game coming up against Oklahoma.
Yeah, torch Oklahoma, torch that Oklahoma defense this weekend that nobody thinks Alabama's going to be able to obliterate. And
yeah,
I think you give him something to talk about. And I really think if he does that, he's my one guy. Like I said, I think he's the most NFL-ready quarterback in the draft class. Just the throws he can make, and he's a freaking athlete, able to run around. People don't really give him that credit, but every time he leaves the pocket, it's a problem. He's going to go get 10, 20 yards. And Mendoza he obviously has a clutch factor. I don't doubt that about him. But he also throws some suspect balls sometimes into some bad places. I don't really ever see Ty Simpson make bad throws or reads. And if it is a bad read, he weaves it between 3 guys and gets it to his guy. So I like Ty Simpson, but sadly I got to go with Sand here.
Yeah. Last thing we got, I've seen a lot of reports that there's going to be no ACC team in this playoff. And I think it's a pretty high chance. You have Duke and SMU sitting at 5-1 in the conference. If either of them went out and then beat a Georgia Tech in the conference championship, James Madison's going to get that 4th spot or the 5th spot. You're going to have 2 because it's the 5 highest ranked conference champions, right?
Yeah, that's a misconception. The Power 4 conference does not just have 4 automatic bids. It's the 5 highest ranked conference champions. Virginia, it really sold it for the ACC this weekend. It really made the water kind of foggy. Georgia Tech has to play Georgia and Pitt, so they're by no means a lock. And
yeah.
I don't know what that says about the ACC. Do they have just it's either really great or really even, and they're all bad? I think they're all fringe teams that really probably want to hang in much other conferences. ACC this year, I think it was a letdown for me. Obviously, Georgia Tech kind of had their little Cinderella run, which we could talk about that, but Clemson and Florida State really let the ACC down this year, and it kind of, they're not even in the top 10 in the conference, which I don't think anybody would have bet that at the start of the year. Right now, the conference standings as is, Georgia Tech, Virginia, SMU, Pitt, Duke, and Louisville. It's just a sad year for the ACC, to be honest. I won't be
If a
surprised to see
9-4
some
Duke
conference.
wins the ACC, they're not getting in. They're just not.
Who?
If a 9-4 Duke team, which is what it would be, wins the ACC, they're not in.
Yeah, and then what G5 teams do you think are getting in?
It's the winner of the AAC, and then whoever wins the Sun Belt. It had to be James Madison.
Yeah, the Sun Belt. This is a down year for the Sun Belt. I keep up with them because obviously I played at Troy, but I kind of keep up with it. This is a bad, funky year for the Sun Belt, and I think it's kind of like the Big Ten. There's one really, really, really good team, maybe two, and the rest it's kind of a drastic fall off. So, I like JMU and the winner of the ACC, the American Conference, which is up for grabs right now. I think it's all tied. It's going to be between. I mean, anybody can win that conference right now, and Tulane really mixed things up this weekend, beating Memphis, and USF has obviously been a steady bell cow, and
Navy
North Texas. That's a good conference. I like watching those games. So I'm excited. Always tune into those. I like Tulane's my pick for that conference. I think that loss they had to UTSA, it kind of reminds me of Ohio State, Michigan.
I think they need some help to get in. I'm not positive about that.
They need some help. Yeah, but they still have an opportunity to win the AFC outright. So they're gonna have their chance. I mean, they're gonna keep winning. I think they have a shot at USF. I don't know that for certain.
I mean, real quick, let's just run through.
I will say about JMU. Sorry, I had this in my notes. Sorry to cut you off. About being the highest ranked conference champion. I think the Sun Belt having such a bad year is going to ultimately probably hold JMU back and kind of hinder their ranking because the Sun Belt really hadn't been very competitive.
I mean, they're at 26 right now, which is higher than those few ACC teams I talked about if they win it. So yeah, it's a long shot, but I could see it.
Yeah, something fun to talk about. But I think I love the G5. I think people would hate that. Like that would get riots. I think it would be really cool. I kind of think that's what's so cool about the college football playoff is giving those guys a chance. And I don't think they're gonna go win the thing, but I think it's good for college football and good for the lower level to see like, hey, if you're a dog, you're gonna get in.
I mean, what are you doing if you're a Florida State or a Clemson or Georgia Tech and you don't get a bid? Are you staying in that ACC?
I would, if I was Florida State, I'd have packed up my bags and left when I went 13-0 and didn't get in. That's just me, and it really Clemson should have done the same thing. I think there'll be some conference realignment for them the next few years. Not know how that'll look.
I mean, I think probably dissolves here soon.
I mean, I think don't kill me for saying this. I would not hate like Miami, Florida State, and Clemson in the SEC. I really want it.
I mean, you're long term. That's probably what you're looking at. You're probably looking at two big major conferences in the Big Ten and the SEC.
Well, the Big Ten and the SEC are going to have to stack up, and the ACC I think is on its way out. Sadly, because I mean, you can't have your perennial programs doing what they're doing. And I think it's better. I mean, it's better for recruiting. It's better for your fan base. Like if you're a Clemson, it's better for everything to be in the SEC. And I think there'll be some moves made there, which we've heard rumblings about it. And I think that's the way it's headed. And I think SEC is the place to be. Obviously, becoming the SEC has only helped Texas and Oklahoma, which I didn't think they would hang like they have. But obviously, it's possible to have a smooth transition. So I'd be on the lookout.
I don't know how soon you're looking at this, but I mean, you're probably seeing the best Big 12 teams going into the Big 10, and then the best SEC or the best ACC teams going into the SEC. That's probably what we're coming up.
Yeah, and then it's going to come down to two mega conferences, and then everybody else, and there'll probably be some realignment. Like the Pac-12 is like a discombobulated like ball of random teams. I think there'll be a couple of those. The ACC will probably be able to go get some Sun Belt teams and some ACC teams or some American Conference teams. But ultimately, like you said, it's going to be the Big Ten. I mean, maybe the Big 12 can hang around. They've got some good teams. But like you said, they probably will go poach from Big Ten probably go poach their top dogs, and then what are they sitting with?
Yeah, I mean, you're coming. People have been talking about you're coming up on 2 super conferences, and then a bunch of at that point it'd be group of 8 conferences.
It's really, if it goes to 2 super conferences, what's the difference between one super conference and then just all the Division I FBS Power 5 schools or Power 4 are just all in one mega conference? I think it'd be good for college football. Some cool matchups every week, and probably more fair, honestly.
I mean, imagine Bama going to Clemson every other year.
Or just like you have like a power, like a large mega conference, and it's divided by region. Like, I think that would be cool.
I mean, we're rambling about this, but you're probably
That's
looking
years away.
Yeah. You're also probably looking at like quarterfinal games for the conference championship. That's probably what you're looking at. You play your region, and then the winner of your region moves on.
I think it would be cool. That's probably 25 years away, but
yeah,
I do think some movement in the ACC is going to happen within the next 5 years. I wouldn't be surprised to see it this year.
Yeah. Last thing, I mean, I was going to ask you about your conference championship picks, but I mean, I think it's pretty obvious who's getting into each game. I mean, it's Bama, Texas A&M. I think
I
it's
got
probably you got Bama.
Yeah, Bama, Texas A&M, Ohio State, Indiana. Pretty fair to say.
It's probably Texas Tech, Cincinnati.
Texas Tech, Cincinnati, which that's going to be a bloody one for Cincinnati if that's what happens. I think Texas Tech is leaps and bounds above.
Yeah.
That's what I think. And I think they're getting better, which, I mean, that's what good teams do.
And then ACC, I have no idea.
No, I mean, you got 4 teams sitting at 5-1 right now.
You could get 20 guys to predict it right now. I don't think one of them gets it right.
Miami's sitting at 3-2. It's like
they need some help, but it could happen.
Yeah, I think everything that needed to happen for them this weekend, I think you said this earlier, happened. But I don't know. It was an exciting week in college football. I guess it wasn't really any big upsets, but there were some interesting games and some interesting things happened. And it was kind of a funky week, but I enjoyed it. And I guess get ready for our preview on Friday. We'll have Noah and Jack with us, and yeah, we're excited, and we're excited for this week 12, November. Your winners are remembered in November, and that's when it really matters. So,
yeah. All right. I think that'll do it.
All right.